All right, Pirate fans, welcome out to another episode of the Pirates Cove podcast. This is episode number 40. That's right, Coach Steve. We reached 40 already. We're getting close to that 50. And we're here. We're going to talk sports. We're going to talk boys basketball. Last week we talked Rockport-Fulton Lady Pirates varsity basketball with Coach Morgan Hale. Today we're going to go to the other side and we're going to talk about our boys. And we have our head coach, our head Rockport-Fulton head basketball coach, and I'll introduce him here in just a minute. We're not in full effect today. We have two guys. Big T and the Z-Man are not here yet. I don't know if they'll be able to join us later. We hope, but right now I've got the coach, Steve Cantu. Coach, how you doing?
Hey, I'm blessed, brother. I'm happy to be here.
All right, and then I want to introduce our guest tonight. He's a Rockport-Fulton Pirates head basketball coach, Damien Bates. Coach Bates, how you doing?
Doing well. Thank you guys for having me on.
Absolutely. And we want to talk, of course, about our 2021-2022 Rockport-Fulton basketball boys. And I'm going to throw it over to Steve Cantu, and he's got some questions for you, Coach.
Coach Bates, welcome. And thank you for taking the time. I know the weather's super bad. You may be trapped at the school. Hopefully we can get you in and out and you get you home safely. It sounds like the weather's cleared up. I'm sitting right next to the window. So just to give you a bit of a peace of mind. The weather's kind of cleared up a little bit, so you should be okay on your way.
Good.
Thanks again for taking some time. I know it's been a super long day, and you know, coming on a podcast may be one of the things that you didn't have high on your list. But we appreciate it. Thank you so much. You know, we're super excited about the upcoming basketball season. We're so juiced about it. You know, I mean, we're football guys. You know, I got a son that's playing football and I love it. I love to watch it. I love to commentate on and do all this, but basketball is my love. Basketball is my love as a kid coming up. I'm not very tall in stature, but I was always very good. I was always very good in basketball. It's really quick. So it's a love that I have. I've even coached a youth program here for several years. I did that for several years. You know, while my son was interested in playing, he fell out of love with it, but we enjoyed our time together. But we're all super excited about the upcoming season and to have you on. But I want to try to give our public just a little insight on Coach Bates and talk a little bit about yourself. Tell me where you went to school, Coach Bates. Where'd you go to school?
I went to a small school called Evan High School. We had population 432. So I graduated. Yeah, my graduating class was like 25 or 26 kids. It was crazy. It was just it'd be a 2A now, but it was just in Central Texas. Grew up there. Had two older brothers that played sports. So that's what I watched. That's what we did. And had a blast doing it, man. I played football, basketball, track, golf, just kind of everything. That's kind of one of the blessings of going to a small school is that you get the opportunities to do so much. After graduating from Evan, I went to Tarleton State. Didn't play anything, just kind of went as a student, and knew from 7th grade that I wanted to coach. Just kind of wanted to have an impact on kids, wanted to try to make a difference. Plus to kind of continue that competitive edge that was always with me, to be able to do that and then just try to teach kids how to work hard and achieve and try to earn everything that they get, you know. So went to Tarleton, graduated from there, and then started coaching. Been doing this is my 21st year already. So yeah, I'm getting up there, man. The white hairs are kind of starting to come in a little bit more on the sides, not quite as youthful looking as what I used to be.
Yeah. Hey, so tell me, Coach, when as you were going through, you know, the application process or looking, what drew you to Rockport?
I spent 8 years in Houston. And I was at 2 5As there, 4 years at Goose Creek Memorial in Baytown as an assistant. And then I went 4 years at New Caney High School there in Houston. And not much of a tradition there, man. They only made the playoffs 2 years in the history of the school. But I kind of wanted that wanted that challenge. I wanted to see if I could coach at that level. 5A Houston it's the real deal. You're playing against D1 guys every night, and you're going against great coaches every night. And within my 4 years there, we had to build it. But my third year there, we made the playoffs, won 26 games. Then my fourth year there, we made the playoffs. Just unfortunately, we ran into Beaumont Ozan and Beaumont Central before they combined to Beaumont United now. And both of them made the state tournament the year before. So they were just so good, so rich in tradition, just D1 dudes all over the floor. And kind of as I was watching my two sons growing up, I got two sons, Chance is a junior now, Bryce is a freshman for us. And I didn't want them to have that experience of a 5A. We were so big that I wanted to find something smaller, something where if they wanted to do multiple sports, they could. So I saw Rockport was open and sent the application to Coach Seibert and came down and interviewed, brought the family down because, we never thought about living this far south on the coast, all that kind of stuff, being from Central Texas. This is about 4.5 hours away from all of our family. So we came and visited and enjoyed, what we saw. And I kind of talked to my wife and she gave me her blessing. And then I talked to Chance and Bryce and, they said, Dad, if you get to coach us, we want to be a part of it. So we decided to come down to Rockport. We moved in, and a month and a half later, we got to experience Harvey. So it was a crazy first year.
Yeah.
So crazy. But it made us who we are, kind of as a program. It built that toughness. So
sure.
So that's kind of why we came down to Rockport. We just kind of wanted something a little bit smaller, a smaller community. And now I have a golf cart and I drive to school and, trying not to be too early because that's the Rockport way. You can't show up too early. So, I'm adapting.
Yeah, it seems like you are. You got your own golf cart going to work now. Oh yeah, you're just the regular now.
That's my ride to school, man. I live less than 5 minutes away. So it slows me down. It really does. Instead of just speeding everywhere, hurrying up, getting to work, it just slows me down. So I can enjoy that.
I could tell you, I share the same story. I was born and raised in Houston, so I lived there all my life. I've lived in Rockport now, going on 13 years that we migrated down. But like you, we came down. Well, I mean, unlike you, I didn't come down here for a job interview, but we came down to visit. My mother's from down here. She lived down here. She's been down here since the early 80s. Came down here to visit and, just fell in love with the community and the speed of life down here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like driving in neutral, you know what I'm saying? So
it is. And with the hectic life of coaching, man, it's just nonstop.
Yeah.
Last night we went to Robstown for that junior high football game, got back at like 10:30, got home at 11, up here at school at 5:30 for practice. So then, it's just, so it is. It's nice to have that kind of beach life. Just slow down a little bit, go check out some of Augie's concerts and just go relax, listen to music and just.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's enjoyable for sure.
That's awesome. Well, Coach, we're glad to have you. Sorry that the introduction to Rockport had to come through Harvey, but like you said, it helped shape pretty much everybody down here. I mean, I see that in all the kids in every sport that we watch, the grit and the determination that Harvey gave to us. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, the storm did take a lot. It did take quite a bit of materialistic things, but in return, it gave these kids here locally, a true sense of worth. Like, they don't need the materialistic thing. They understand what it is, you know what I'm saying? And it transfers. I see it, I see the grit and determination on the court, on the field. I see it all over town. So, unfortunately we had to go through that, but like you said, it definitely made us stronger as a town and it shows on the fields. So, Coach, talk to me a little bit about, your 2021 team, 21-22 team. Talk to me about, what you're bringing back, upperclassmen, juniors. Talk to me a little bit about your rotation or your starters, or not even. Talk to me a little bit about your team.
Yeah. Well, last year was we had a lot of youth, some inexperience, and this year we're hoping to kind of build on that. Chance, he was on varsity as a freshman for us, ended up kind of starting towards the end of the year, so he got quite a bit of experience. Then he kind of helped us a lot last year being a sophomore. He ended up getting first team all district. So definitely going to rely on Chance quite a bit. We're looking at moving him to point guard. This year he got a little bit stronger, a little bit thicker, just kind of improved his ball handling skills a little bit. And, being a coach's son, you hear basketball all the time. And we're always talking basketball. So he kind of understands a little bit more of what I want, what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to see. And he's starting to pick that up. And he's starting to kind of talk to the players on the side during practice, which I love. Hey, I need you to kind of do this. Or, hey, what if you did, and it's always huge to have a point guard that is the coach on the floor.
That's right.
Definitely going to put a lot on him. We're returning Matthew Vasquez, our 6'5" post. He's one of the biggest kids in district besides the Miller post. Matthew ended up getting newcomer of the year last year. Pretty close to averaging a double-double for his points and rebounds. I feel like his confidence has just grown so much from last year to even this year, him playing football, I think that kind of changed his mentality of being a little bit more physical, being on the defensive line, battling those offensive linemen all the time, going through the grueling practices of football, having Coach Cyber push him hard, Coach Robbins. We know that Coach Robbins demands a lot as far as physicality, intensity. And I think that's just going to carry on to the court. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that through Matthew as well. Of course, I hope it's not anytime soon. I hope that they make a deep run in football, and we get him when we get him. Then we got Trace Nesloni coming back. He's going to be another guard for us. He was a sophomore on varsity last year as well. He kind of battled injuries. He ended up having a fractured ankle last year that set him back. Otherwise, I think that he would be really, really big for us. But I like his development. He's a little bit short of a guard, but great at like breaking down a defense, getting inside, attacking, making guys collapse, trying to kick out to open shooters. So looking forward to him. And then we have Anton Dixon. Anton's going to be a senior for us. He's about 6'2", 6'3" now, so he grew another couple inches. Anton will kind of be a 4-5 for us. He'll play the power forward spot, the center spot, whenever we need to give Matthew a break. I like Anton. He's probably one of the strongest guys in our basketball program, so he kind of brings that physicality for us as well. I like Anton. Anton was a kid that just kept working, kept grinding, kept getting better and better and better. And even today, I told him I love the progress that I'm seeing for him. So if we can get that to continue, I think Anton's going to be a huge help for us. Yeah. Super, super excited about our two shooters that we're bringing in this year. They were on JV last year as freshmen. Again, they're both going to be sophomores, Logan Blankenship and Carter Engel. Both of them are about 5'8", probably 5'7", 5'8", but holy cow, man. They can hit 3, and then the next thing you know, they're hitting 6, they're hitting 8. You cannot give these dudes space, man. They can light it up in a hurry. And I think that's kind of what we were missing last year. We were missing that outside perimeter threat of a consistent shooter. And then this year, I'm really hoping that Chance, Trace, those guys can break down the defense, and then you got two shooters out there.
Yeah.
So if the defense helps, bam, you kick it to the shooter. And if Carter and Logan are doing their jobs, those guys have to just stay on them. Well, if they stay on them, now you're getting Chance and Trace getting to the rim. Mm-hmm. Now the help has to come from the big. Well, if the big helps, now we drop the 6'5" Matthew. If the help don't come, now we got guards who can finish at the rim. So I like what we're putting on the floor. I think that we can space. I think that we can attack. I think that we can really do some things offensively that we haven't been able to do the last year. So looking forward to that. We're returning, or we got Brody Guerrero coming up. Brody's going to be a senior for us. Brody might be y'all remember the old commercials of the Energizer Bunny? The thing that never stops, like it never gets tired. It just keeps going and going and going. That's Brody, man. And I love Brody. Brody is a kid who every single day is going to come in. He's going to bust his rear end. He always does it without question. Like Brody is a team first guy. Yeah. And when you can get a guy on your team like that, man, the other guys kind of feed off of it. That unselfishness, we kind of call it servanthood. Right. It's not about you. It's about others, putting the needs of others before yourself. And, Brody's kind of been working the defense against us this week in practice. Brody, I need you to guard this guy, or Brody, play this spot. And he just, yes, sir. And he just flat out gets after it, man. So I like what Brody brings to the table as far as just that hard working, that blue collar mentality. Yeah. You were talking about the Hurricane kind of making us that tough, gritty guy. Well, that's Brody. Brody is the epiphany of that. That's him. Let's see. We have freshmen. We're bringing in another freshman 3 years in a row. We did it with Chance, and then last year we did it with Ace. And then now we're bringing in this guy named Roman Cox. You've probably heard of the last name. His brother played for us. I don't know if y'all remember him. Tyson. All region, 1,000-point career guy. I love Tyson. So if he watches this, I want him to know I love you, kid. But I think Roman might be the better. He might end up being the better player by the time it's done, which I'm not upset about. But man, Roman can be a special talent. Roman has that kind of ability. We don't want to put too much on him this year. I don't want him to stress. I just want him to get used to the speed of what varsity basketball is. And, he's played a lot of AU. He's played it at a high level. But, taking that into consideration, I think that it's helped prepping for this. But there's still something different about putting on that homeschool uniform, playing that last game of the night, going against the Sentons, the Osos, the Millers, those big games. Yeah. It's different, So we want Roman to come in and not feel the stress of having to do too much. Come in, feel it out, be you play your game, but don't feel like you got to carry us. Just you come in, do you. And if he can do that, man, he's going to be a great player for us off the bench. And he's going to, you had those concerns of, well, we're putting a freshman on varsity. Is he going to get minutes? Is he going to play? Is it going to be worth it, or should he be playing down? I get it, but that's not Roman. Roman is going to get minutes. He's going to play. He's going to contribute. He's going to get in there. He's going to get dirty. He's going to battle. So we're definitely going to utilize the freshman. He's going to get out there. And I think what I like about Roman the most is when you talk, he's here. His eyes are on you. He is fully engaged, and he wants to do what you're coaching him to do because he understands the big picture, and through my talks with him and his dad, Rodney, he wants to play at the next level. And when you have that dream, you kind of have a different work ethic about yourself. So it's fun to watch him, man. It's fun to watch him, and I don't want to rush it. But in 2 to 3 years, I think he's going to be a special kid for us. He's going to be fun, very fun. Awesome. We got a new kid move in. I don't know if y'all heard about him. He moved in from Bishop. Coach Castro over there at Bishop coached him the last couple of years. He was on varsity last year as a sophomore. So his name's Andrew Estrada. He's going to be about I think he's about 5'10". 5'10" guard for us. Come in. He's another pretty good shooter for us. Pretty high basketball IQ. You know, he's having to learn our system, which was different than what Coach Castro did over there at Bishop. But when you come in with the discipline that they had at Bishop and the hard work that they had at Bishop, he's adapting pretty quickly. So, I'm excited about having him come in and playing for us and just kind of adding depth and helping us there. And then I think that we have Patrick Lee. I think that might be our last guy. I'm hoping I'm not missing anybody. Patrick is the brother of Josh. Josh played for us on varsity the last couple of years. Patrick was kind of a shorter, kind of awkward kid his freshman year. Now the kid's like 6'2", long arms, still growing, kind of figuring himself out. Right now, he's the starting four for us. He just I like Patty because he goes by Patty. Patrick goes by Patty. He has good length, man, and he uses it well. Like he extends the ball out. He gets a lot of help defensive blocks because of his length. He just kind of he sees the floor well, and he's able to rotate over and help, which is a great addition. And he worked on his perimeter shot a little bit this year. So we're seeing him hit a few more threes during some of our scrimmages and practices, which is always a good addition. So, and I like our group. We got 10 guys, and I think that we can rotate 9 to 10 guys in, any time. And, we're young, as far as that goes, varsity experience. But, I'm not an excuse guy. I wasn't an excuse guy last year. I'm not going to be an excuse guy this year. We set the mindset of, we're here to win playoffs, make the play district games, win district, make the playoffs. Last year was a setback. The injury to Caden Harder really hurt us, losing our starting 5-man that was on varsity for 4 years, and you lose him. That hurt. Now it led to the development of Matthew, but still. Yeah, we needed Caden on the floor because we could have put Caden at 4, Matthew at 5, and now we could have done a lot of things. But, last year was what it was. We had a chance to make the playoffs, last district game of the year, and we just didn't get it done, So that weighed on me heavily. Situations like that, I always say you learn more in your losses than you do your wins. Sure. And, it made me go to the drawing board, made me go back to evaluate what I'm doing as a coach, how I'm doing it. Talk to the boys. The boys were like, Coach, push us even harder. We don't want to experience this again. We don't want this feeling again. Yeah. So that's what we did. We went into the spring, man. We went over we played in 2 different leagues. We played in the Miller League. We got after it. We played a lot of good teams in the Miller League. We ended up playing Miller, and we beat them. Coach Bastion did not like that very much, so he changed the entire schedule to play us again the next week to see if it was a fluke, see what it was. He had his dudes out there doing pregame stretches. They were going hard, and we were able to get them again. Wow. And it was just kind of that confidence booster. Now, I know it's spring. Don't get me wrong. But it was that booster of, hey, we can play a little bit. We can play a little bit. We played in a lot of summer tournaments. This summer, we held one this summer, and we beat a couple of good teams in it. And then we ended up playing New Braunfels, which is a 6A, kind of in the semifinals of the tournament. We ended up losing to them on a last-second foul where the kid made the free throw. So we proved to ourselves that we could play with I believe, a playoff 6A team. Yeah. So, man, I think that we have the ability. Now it's just, are we going to stay healthy? Are we going to keep regressing? Are we going to keep growing? You know, and I think good things could happen for us, but, you know, time will tell.
There you go, Coach. Well, it sounds like you guys have put in all the work, and your boys have you know, done all the preparation they can do. You know what I'm saying? Playing that, because that's big. You know, don't downplay that. Beating Miller, whether it's in off-season ball or not, it does what it does is it builds confidence to the boys, yes. and that's gonna carry over. Playing losing the semifinal games to a 6A school, that's huge. That's gonna play over. So congratulations for putting together a great off-season program for them boys in preparation for their season. I think it's going to pay dividends. There's no doubt in my mind that it will. Let me ask you about your offensive philosophy. What do you guys run? I mean, you touched on it just a little bit. Do you guys kind of shape your offense off of what the defense is doing? Do y'all play off of that, or you know what do y'all run ordinarily?
We man, there's so many offenses out there, you know, that you can run. And I think about what would I want to run as a player. I like freedom. I like creativity.
Okay.
I love to teach the boys how to play the game. I don't want them to be robots. I know that you can run continuities. You know, there's so many continuities out there. Continuity is just a pattern offense where you go here, this happens, you're going to go here. This happens, you go here. We run a 4-out, 1-in motion. So we're going to put 4 guards around Matthew. I'm hoping that we can put 4 guards who can put it on the floor. I hope that we can put 4 guards that can shoot a little bit. We're going to try to utilize some ball screens. We're going to utilize some ball handoffs. We want to create switches. The more switches we create, the more mismatches that we can try to take advantage of. You know, there's going to be times where we're just going to ball screen, not for the roll, not for this, but just try to get a switch. Mm-hmm. If we can get that switch, then we're going to try to bury that dude, and we're going to try to feed it to Matthew. We call it barbecue chicken. I don't know if y'all watch NBA TNT. You know what Shaq?
Yeah.
That's what Shaq calls it, barbecue chicken, man. Give the ball to the big man. So that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to feed Matthew. We're going to try to, you know, go to as many barbecues as we can. But if we get that mismatch and we get a big on one of our guards, we're going to try to take advantage of that too.
There you go.
If he sags off, pull up, hit the 3. If he tries to get up on you, try to get up into him, get him in foul trouble.
Yeah.
If they're big in foul trouble, now they got to put in somebody smaller, which means we got even more mismatches. So, no, like I said, I love trying to coach the game. I really do. I love trying to scout teams, try to break them down. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What do they try to do? And then you try to counter that through what we do. So, no, we try to space, create driving opportunities. You help, boom, we're going to kick it. Hopefully we can make some shots this year. You know, we want to play a little bit faster this year. I feel like we got the guys that can do it. You know, if we get a certain lineup out there, we got 4 guys who can put the ball on the floor after a rebound. Yeah. And if you have 4 guys that can rebound and go immediately, gets the defense on their heels. And then if they're on the heels, they got to pick up without necessarily matching up the way that they want. And if you can create those mismatches through that, we want to try to do that as well. So I'm hoping that we can be a little bit more exciting on offense. So we even went out. We got some shirts made that say "Let it rain." It's got 3s all over it, and every time that we make a 3-pointer at a home game, our cheerleaders are going to throw 2 of them up in the stands every game.
Awesome.
I got a box right here beside me of 100 of them, and we have about 15 home games. So I'm hoping that we go through that box quick.
Pretty quick.
Yeah. Hey, and I'll be calling up our vendors saying I need more. Let's go.
I need more. Ain't nothing wrong with
more.
That. Yeah. Well, Coach, I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Thanks for taking my questions. I'll pass it over to Gabriel now.
Yes, sir.
Coach, I'll start with. Can you hear me, Coach?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I've got a couple of questions that people wanted me to ask you. And the first one was, who will be the toughest team in the district, do you think?
Right now, TABC, Texas Association of Basketball Coaches, they just released their rankings. Right now you have Oso at 14th, I think, and Miller is at 19th, I believe. So, Oso's got everybody returning. They returned every single kid. And then they got a transfer in from Tolosa Midway, a big kid. He's definitely going to help them. I like what Coach Richardson's over there is doing with them, man. He's got those kids playing hard, discipline. They're going to be tough. They're going to be real tough. Then Miller, Miller graduated. Andrew, the stud quarterback that's playing college ball now. They graduated a couple more guys, but they're returning Lonnie. They're returning their big that matches up with Matthew. They got quick, strong guards too. So, I don't know which one of those two is going to be better. I know what the rankings say, but, those two can flat out get it. Oso and Miller are going to be really tough, really tough. Then, of course, you had in Sinton, you had in Beaver. I mean, I don't think that there's just one game in district that you can say, man, that is an automatic win. We just don't have that. We don't have that. Every single game is going to be a grind. Ingleside got a new coach, Coach Spencer, which was at Gregory Portland. He's there. Heard good things about what he's doing. Beeville really started coming on last year. Calhoun, of course, made the playoffs last year. They're the team that knocked us out to keep us from getting in. Like I said, Sinton, it's just tough, man. It's tough night in, night out. So trying to get 1 through 4 is going to be tough. I do like how we're trying to prepare for it, though, playing Oso, playing Miller. This year, and rankings changed, but this year, looking at pre-rankings, we'll play 9 games against top 25 teams. 9 games. So we're loaded up. I don't care what our overall record is. Our job is to get better, and we want to win those games. We're going to the Port Aransas team tournament. We're going to play La Pan, which is a 2A school, but they're number 2 in state. We're going to play Port Aransas, which is a 2A school, but they're number 3 in state. And I don't care what your classification is. If you're number 2, number 3 in state, you can play. You got dudes. So I'm looking forward to that challenge, and that's before we even get Matthew. So we're going to have to play these dudes without a true big. We're going to have to go. Then we can play Hardin Jefferson, which is 4A, top 25. Aransas Pass, top 25. We're going to play London, number 9 in state, which made the regional finals last year. They have a chance to make the regional tournament again. I mean, we loaded the schedule to try to get ready for the Osos Millers. So I'm hoping that prepares us for those situations.
Yeah,
I'm sure it will, Coach, and it's going to be exciting because Pars Co's going to be right there with you every game. We're going to be right there with live streaming the game, and we're going to be bringing in players, hopefully, to the interview and some assistant coaches, and of course, we'll be asking you a few more times to come back throughout the basketball season. Coach, there is another question that somebody wanted me to ask you, and that had to do with Matthew Vasquez. With the basketball season starting, one of the things that was a concern was, how's Matthew's well-being? So I'm going to ask you the question, will Matthew be ready to play when he's available after the football season?
I think so. I've talked to our athletic trainer, Coach Cameron. She's working with him hard. I know that he's going to Humble physical therapy, working with Cassie Kirkendall. I've got a really good relationship with Cassie. She's the wife of my former assistant, Chris Kirkendall. And she was the one that went through all of my rehab with my foot last year. So don't forget about that. That was enjoyable with last year too, trying to battle that. But man, we got some awesome people working with him again, Coach Cameron and Cassie. And after talking with them, I think with what he's doing and how he's working, he's going to be there. If he can get ready and finish out football season, obviously that's what we want for Matthew. I know that he is excited about the basketball season. He's talked to me quite a bit, and he told me, Coach, I'm going to do everything I can to be ready. And when you have a kid like that who loves the game and who wants to put in that kind of work, I'm going to trust him. And I'm going to trust our trainers. I'm going to trust Cassie, and I think he'll be ready when the time comes.
Awesome.
Yeah, because Coach, we're going to need Matthew, obviously, and it's going to be good. Coach, I want to talk a little bit about because it seems like we have a very young and exciting team, and you're going to have these guys. I think you got 2 seniors, and you've already gone over the roster and stuff. But I wanted to talk a little bit about last year, because the year before and the prior year to that, I mean, we were winning district and we were going a couple of rounds in the playoffs. Last year, it was a little different. What do you think, in particular, did you want the players to learn from not making the playoffs last year to what can they bring from last year's season to this season?
Like I said earlier, I think, man, we have this quote above our door, and it says, win with class, lose with class. We lost last year. There's no hiding that. And in that, we had to be humbled. We were district champs. We were 28-8. We went 13-1, and we were riding high. And I think sometimes you feel like you can just keep doing that at a high level without putting in the work that the Connor McMahons and the Tyson Coxes and the Cole Armstrongs put in. Those seniors, they put in a lot of work. They put in a lot of hours, and I don't know if we did the same last year. Now, in defense of that, COVID didn't help us. We were locked out of the gym for a long time. And when you're trying to replace dudes like that, when you're trying to replace 3 good players like that, Cole, 2 all-region players, and Connor and Tyson, you need to get into the gym. You need to work together. You need to build that. And then we kind of did a little bit. And then we were looking at a different offense to utilize Payton and Matthew on the floor at the same time. Then, the Ingleside football game where Payton got hurt, we lost him for the year. We lost his talent. We lost his leadership. We lost his experience. You can't replace that stuff. You can't replace a 4-year varsity guy. That you just can't do that. And then, like I said, with Trace Nessaloni getting hurt, it hurt our guard. It hurt our depth. Just trying to get another guy out there on the floor. And I love the boys. I love the boys that we had. I thought that they gave everything that I asked them to. We didn't accomplish our goals. And going into this year, we're using that. I don't like to lose. I don't like to look at my kids' faces in the locker room after a loss. I don't like to see that hurt on their face and in their heart. So they told me, Coach, let's work, man. And, that pain of losing, I keep telling them, the pain of what I'm putting you through practice can't be worse than that pain of losing. You've got to understand that. So every time, like today, man, golly, we got after it today. And then we finished with this UT conditioning. Well, UT conditioning is you do 1 sprint, 5 seconds. And then you do 3 sprints at 17 seconds. Then you do 5 sprints in 34 seconds. And then we go all the way up to 9. And then after 9, you got to go all the way back down. And that's after an hour 45 practice of getting it. Because we don't have very many guys right now. So our depth is limited. We're not subbing very much. And then we push that. And that's what I told him. I'm like, look, the pain that you feel now, fellas, it's okay because it's making you stronger. It's helping you grow. And when we get into that locker room, you'll be happy. You'll be smiling. You'll be joking. You'll be cutting up because the work that you did is going to raise you to where you want to be and hopefully get us to where we want to be. And I think this year I got guys who love the game. I think when you love the game, you're willing to put in a little bit more. I think that you're willing to come in on your own time. You're willing to go up and run on your own. You're willing to go into the weight room we've upped our weights this year. We're not going to be very tall. We're not going to be very big, but I told them, look, you can't be small and weak. So we've hit the weight room hard, trying to get as strong as we can. So the kids are embracing that. And we look on our banners every day. There's not a year up last year on those banners. In our locker room, I put up signs that have the playoffs, have district championships. There's nothing representing 2020, 2021. There's a blank there now. And I don't think these seniors this year, Brody and Anton, they don't want to be a part of that. My guys who are on varsity, they don't want to be the team to do that 2 years in a row. They want to stop that. They want to get that streak going back. They want to prove that Rockport can play basketball, that we're just not, a 1-2 year thing, that we're building something. We're building a program here. So, and if we can keep that up, I think that we can make the school and the community proud of us.
Well, Coach, I'll tell you, you've already made this school proud. I mean, we know that you like to win. I've talked to basketball players that played for you, and they say that this Coach Bates, he knows basketball. I mean, if you play for him, they love playing for you from what I've heard. You bring a lot of knowledge, and that's great to have you here. I've always said that our program is excelling. Coach Cyber's doing a good job, I think, in bringing in his assistants, not just in football, but in basketball and softball. I mean, we're competing, and we're winning district in just about every sport. We had our first powerlifting champion female in Val. We've had her on. Our softball girls, what they did last year. Our baseball team is kind of like the basketball team. They're young, and it's exciting when Coach Elizondo has these young guys, and they're playing, and you've got them 2-3 more years. Same thing with what we've got this year in basketball is that, we're probably going to go through a little bit of hiccups this season, but look at what's coming. Look how young they are, and it just sets it up for the future. So we're really excited for what the boys are going to do this year. We had Coach Hale for what the girls. And we're going to be there, Coach, every step of the way. We'll be out of town, in town. And we're going to be talking about you guys every Wednesday, breaking down the games. We kind of critique it. We never belittle coaches or players on the Pirates Cove, but we do critique it. We do talk about what we see from a fan's point of view. And then, we like to, for the community get involved. And then we push the games. We live stream them on GT Sports, but we rather have them into the gym, especially here at home. I know when I played basketball and the gym was loud. And I had a coach when I played in high school. He was intense. And boy, that was my game. I wanted to win for my coach, want to win for my school. So it seems like what you're talking about with these boys, it's exciting. We've got some young guys. I want to see these 2 guys out here that you're talking about that are going to light it up from the threes. We're going to use some of the stuff Coach Bates is saying here, Steve, with threes and barbecue. We're going to be using some of those. And we're going to use some of that. When we play, it's going to be exciting. But, Coach, it seems like you got it going on. It seems like you really got some players. Chance was here when he was a freshman ace, and now you got Cox. So, to me, it just seems like it's going to be really good for a lot of years to come. And that excites me because, like I said, I played basketball. I didn't play football in high school or baseball a lot, but I did play basketball. It just came easy to me, and I love that game. So we're looking forward to commenting. We're looking forward to interviewing you again and your assistants. And we're also looking to see what the JV and the freshmen and what the junior high has. So, Coach, thank you very much for spending some time. We're definitely going to call you back a few more times during the regular season. We'll also have interviews with Coach Bates after some games, so tune into that as well with some of the players after the game. Steve and I will be doing that. And, Coach, before we let you go, we'd ask you to give you the final word. Anything you want to say before we call it a night?
Absolutely. As much as we talked about all the on the court stuff, which is huge, we all want to win games. We want to teach kids work ethic. Our motto for on the court stuff is earn it. Nothing's giving in this world. Go earn everything that you want. And I think that'll build into becoming a man. But again, I know I mentioned it 2 years ago. We lost our assistant, Chris Kirkendall. Loved the big guy. He helped me out a lot. And from his passing, it just pushed me to try to be better, which inspired our character education program called Rise Up. rise up as a man, become more, become better. And we try to instill that into the kids a lot. So we have shirts out there that says rise up. We have shirts out there that have the CK logo, which stands for Coach Kirkendall. As much as I want to win, and as much as I want to create those memories for those boys of winning and banners and all that, it's all great. But if we can help these men, these young men become fathers, husbands, and the workers that are respected, I think that we're doing our job. And that's one of the things I try to tell our parents. Look, if you can expect anything from me, it's going to be that. I'm going to hold your kid to a very high standard. I don't like C's. On the report card, we say C's are average. We don't want to be average. It's A's and B's. We don't get in trouble in the classroom. We don't do these things. So as much as y'all expect from us on the court, which I want those high standards, I want those high expectations. I want the same thing from me. I want the same thing from our assistants, and I want the same thing from our boys. When it comes to off the court, our character, I want us to be better. I want us to rise up in everything that we do. So just kind of who we are. That's who we are. Go earn it and rise up while doing it.
Coach, I do want to mention your assistant coach that you're talking about that passed away. I know that that year he basically, I think, went undefeated. I want to say it in JV. I don't know if he lost one game, but I was told that he won more games. But did he go undefeated the last year?
He went undefeated in district. I think that he lost a game or two during the regular season. He had a pretty talented JV, and man, he did a heck of a job with him. Those boys loved him. They loved his personality. I mean, the dude was like 6'5", 6'6", 3 bills. He was a big man, but he was a big teddy bear. And I'm not going to lie, man, that was one of the hardest days, hardest months, hardest years when you get used to a man sitting there and he's been a head coach before and he understands what I was going through, the stress of that district championship season. And he took the JV and he ran with it. He would take these obstacles and Coach Bates, man, I got you. He would listen to my music and he goes, Coach Bates, 90s grunge music stinks. It's all about the 80s rock, and we had that little stuff. Me and my wife and him and his wife would get together, have dinner and stuff. It was a phenomenal guy. He was a phenomenal guy, and miss him a lot. Absolutely miss him a lot. So yeah, Coach K, good one.
That's what we knew about Coach K, and I knew a lot of the players, and I needed his passing impacted our players a lot, and they did love playing for him. I heard a lot from a lot of the coaches that played for him. Coach, the last thing I'll ask before we go is, can you give us the names of your assistants?
We have Coach Crucial returning. He is he's one of the varsity football coaches. He is coming back. This will be his second year with us. He's going to be coaching the JV this year. Last year he did the freshman. He's going to be doing JV. Excited to have him back because he's kind of learned the program, knows our expectations, what we do. And then I don't know, fellas, you might be questioning me, but I went and recruited one of our enemies. I got Keith Thompson. Keith Thompson is from West Oso. He was actually on the state championship team. You know the phrase, right? You can't beat them, recruit them. No. I'm super excited to have him, man. Coach Thompson loves basketball. And when I interviewed him, he's like, Coach Bates, I want to be where you are one day. I want to be a head coach. And you know what that told me? Sponge. He wants to absorb everything I'm teaching. And he's like, Coach Bates, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And he's not questioning why. He wants to learn so he can teach that. Man, he has questions. Coach, do you think I can do this? He's going to be a good one. He's going to be a good one. So I'm excited to have him. He's going to be running our freshmen. And I've already kind of given him a lot of the reins on that, of, hey, this is what we do. He watched us work with the varsity and stuff, and now he's taking that and he's throwing it right in with freshmen. So really excited to have those two guys. I don't know how far you want me to expand on this, but our junior high coaches, we have all three of those back. Coach Flores is going to be running our B teams for us. Coach Tidwell is going to be doing our 7th grade A. Then you have the Jet, Coach Hasso. He's going to be doing our 8th grade A team. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but he was TABC Middle School Coach of the Year last year.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't going to say that.
He won't say it. We had him on an interview. He didn't say that.
Oh, heck no, he's not going to say it. No, he's not going to say it. But yeah, he was TABC Middle School Coach of the Year. He has his plaque and everything. Wow. So if you guys interview him again, you got to make him bring it. Got to make him show it off a little bit.
Oh, we will.
Yeah, Coach also is a football dude, and he's watched us, and he's like, Coach Bates, I'm bought in. And now he tries to teach everything we do, man. Coach also, we coached the 8th grade A football team together the last, 5 years. And I can say, man, I love Coach also. I love who he is as a man, as a person, and how he embraces mentoring those junior high coaches. He's a good one. He's a good one.
Yeah. We've got some great coaches here, Coach Bates, and we will make sure. I did hear about Coach Hassan. We've had him on. So when we get him on this, for basketball, we'll make sure he brings it. Steve, anything? Yeah, Steve. Well, Coach, before I pass it over to Steve for a final word, thank you for joining us. We look forward to having you a couple of more times. We usually invite the head coach a few more times during the regular season. But I think it's going to be a great year. It's the first time we've interviewed. I talked to you, and I love this interview, man. I love the excitement that you bring just in an interview. So I can just imagine. I've seen you actually on the court, on the basketball court, and you're very intense, man. We're going to win. I can just see from when I've seen you out there. It's all, we're going to win. We're going to leave it all out on the court, and it's going to be great. And I know we're young this year, but like you said, it's just about getting better. And I think that we are with the young guys, and we're going to be right there with you every step of the way. Coach, Steve, anything you want to add before we let Coach Bates go tonight?
No, I mean, other than it was great getting to know you, and looking forward to getting to know you more throughout the season. And just good luck, buddy. Good luck on everything that you do. And we'll be seeing you on the court.
Guys, thank you all so much for having me. Thank you for the support that you give to all the Pirate programs. I love that you're putting the kids in the spotlight, and that's where it needs to be. So thank y'all for that. God bless you. Keep doing what you're doing. Like I said earlier, don't get that microphone too close to the sideline.
No, we'll keep it away. We'll keep it away, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Absolutely.
We'll talk to you soon, Coach.
Night.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Right.
Thank you. You go ahead and push it up, Coach.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
We'll talk about you now.
Yes. So, Steve, great interview with Coach Damien Bates. Man, I never really talked to him, but he is intense. I do see that. He gets in there. He wants the best from his players. And, I think we're going to have a great basketball season. I mean, our boys are young. They're very young. But I'm excited for the next year. It seems like he's only got 2 seniors. So whatever we can build on this year, it's really going to pay dividends next year. But you heard Coach say, hey, I don't care how young we are. We want to win the district title this year. He ain't waiting. He ain't waiting for next year, and we're going to get better. He feels like he's got the team, and he feels he can be competitive in every game, and he's looking to win district. And I love that about that coach. So we're going to be bringing in Coach Bates a few more times throughout the regular season, and I can't wait to have another interview. Just real exciting, man. He already pumped me up, and I love basketball, Steve. It's already pumped me up. Yeah. So let's look. We're going to join in. I think we got some people waiting for us in the waiting room with Coach Jeffery. Let me see what we got. All right, as we get set up, I'll introduce everybody. We're still recording. We just finished an interview with Rockport-Fulton head basketball coach Damien Bates. I apologize for having you guys wait. We had a little bit of an internet issue. The storm hit, knocked us off. So we started with Coach Bates a little late, about almost 20, 30 minutes late. So thank you for waiting. We wanted to get you guys on. So thank you. We're still, we're going to talk now. Two of our guys, I think, are not going to be able to make it for this interview. So it's me and Coach Steve, but we do got another coach from Rockport that we're going to talk to here in a bit. And then we've got three of his varsity players. So I'll introduce them here in just a minute. I don't know. Oh, there you go. Okay, there you go. So we're recording already. We finished with Coach Bates, like I said, so we're jumping in. So I'll introduce the Rockport coach and his players here in just a minute. But we do have Coach Steve Cantu still here with us. Coach, how you doing?
Still here, brother. Blessed and happy to be here.
Yeah, we had a really good interview. So now we're going to switch it over from basketball, and we're going to go over to Rockport-Fulton volleyball. Our girls made the playoffs. They're co-champions, and they had their first playoff game, and it was against Sweeney, and we won. So I want to introduce them here. Our head Rockport-Fulton volleyball girls coach, obviously, is Mark Jeffery. Mark, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Coach, for taking some time. I know you're busy right now, getting prepared for tomorrow's playoff game. And then we got three of his players. We've got Kaylee, Howell. Kaylee, how you doing? Kaylee, can you hear me?
She froze.
She might have froze. Yeah, she'll come back in there. Then we also got Payton Martinez. Payton, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right. And then we've got Mikayla Molina. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mikayla, how you doing?
Good.
Thank you for joining us. Kaylee, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Hi.
How you doing? Hey, ladies, thank you for taking some time. We wanted to get with you guys before you played your playoff game with Coach Jeffries. And so I want to thank you guys all for spending some time. I'm going to throw it over to Coach. He's going to have a few questions for you. It's kind of mostly going to relate to the season and your playoff game against Sweeney, and then what we got coming up tomorrow. Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, well, my first question is going to be for Coach Jeffery, if he's all right with it. Coach Jeffery, first and foremost, congratulations on a super successful regular season. You told us that it was going to work out that way. I got a sense of that confidence that you had in your team this year to put together a better season than that you had last year. You spoke on that last year that there's a lot of games that you guys were in and didn't quite finish a lot of those games out, and didn't finish the season out the way you would like to have. And you said that you guys would be better, and your girls clearly put in the work, and they showed that on the court by these long winning streaks that they went on, and total domination that they showed in spurts throughout the season. So congratulations on that. What I want to do, Coach, real quick, and I know this is it's past, it's already over. I want to talk about that Calhoun game, if you take me back to that Calhoun game. I know after we went to that game and we recorded it, and we looked at each other and said, hey, do we want to go down there and interview him? Do you think he'll take an interview right now? So we were a bit hesitant on going down there and doing that, just because of the type of game it was. But talk to me about that Calhoun game and bouncing back from that. How was that? How did that help you guys, finish out the regular season?
Man, that's a good question. It was an interesting night. The girls and I talked about it. We couldn't have played any worse at all. It seemed like everything we did was wrong, and there were some calls that didn't go our way, and there was just a wave of things that kind of led to the end result there. I think moving forward, we realized that at times some of us were trying to do a little too much, and then the pressure kind of wore on them a little bit, and mistakes started to happen. So I think if anything, we learned that we got to do a better job of just being ourselves. You know, every single person on our roster provides some sort of component to the team. And as long as each one does their individual job to the best of their ability, then we're pretty good. It's when we start trying to do a little too much, which that was the only time that happened this year, that we kind of got into some trouble. So we learned a little bit about ourselves, and we learned, you know, that we weren't perfect and that we still had work to do. So it definitely motivated us a little bit, I think, as you saw the last time that we played on there.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it definitely showed, you know what I'm saying, that you guys bouncing back. Another question I got for you, Coach, and this might be a little touchy, but do you think that last year's team would have been able to bounce back from that win and finish out the regular season the way they did?
Yes, I do, because it's the same group of kids. Outside of one. So I do. Yeah. I think last year also helped a lot with this year.
Yeah.
I think last year, like I told you guys the last time we did this, they were getting to know me. I was getting to know them. You know, there was COVID, there was no tournaments. It was just a mess of a year. But I think in the long run, it actually benefited us tremendously in terms of this year. We learned a lot about ourselves, and it's kind of got us to where we're at now.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you know, you talked about your rotation just a little bit. You touched on it. And that's something that Gabriel and I leaned over to each other. It seems like you run a pretty tight rotation, and you don't really avert from it at all. Is that something that's timed, or is it a feel? I mean, but it does seem to happen like, you know, it's like clockwork. It almost looks timed. Is that what's going on?
It's kind of just what I was saying earlier. You know, each person on our roster provides something to the team, and you know, some of them do things better than the others, and so they kind of complement each other, and that's where their subs come in. You know, like when you pair them together like that in terms of front row, back row, or setter / opposite, when they get to the front row, then they complement each other, and you kind of create one player with two, if that makes sense. So you take both their skill sets, put them together, and you got a pretty stinking good player. Yeah.
Well, no doubt. Well, congratulations again, Coach, on getting over that hump. Obviously, that one game. And getting the girls back on track, you know what I'm saying, and refocused and finished out the regular season. And congratulations on your first playoff win this season and continued success. You know, that's all we're here hoping for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, now I'll go over to the ladies. Ladies, I'll ask this question of all three of y'all, similar to Coach Jeffery. Take me to that night, that bus ride home after losing to Calhoun. You know, what was the mindset as a team and personally? You know what I'm saying? How did that sit with you guys as a team? And then, you know, what were you, saying to yourself on the bus ride? I'll start with Payton.
Personally, it made me upset. Like, I knew, like, the team that wasn't supposed to be the outcome. We knew, like, that we were going to come out strong, but just like Coach Jeffery said, that we were doing everything wrong, and, like, people were doing too much. And I just think that on the bus ride home that everyone was just like, wow, like, we did that. But I just think that that people we should have had a stronger mindset during that game, which it didn't end up that way, but we came back strong. That's for sure.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no doubt. Mikayla, how was that bus ride home?
So everyone was pretty upset, and we knew that we could have played better. So we kind of tried to keep a positive mindset, but it was like we were keeping it to ourselves. So, like, everyone kept to themselves on the bus. And we just kind of, like, replayed, like, the game in our heads and, like, thought about, like, what we could have done better what we did, and then how we're gonna like be better the next time.
Yeah. Kaylee, I mean, Kaylee, in my opinion, you're clearly the vocal leader out there. You're the loudest one. Don't take offense to that. I'm just saying your voice carries a little bit. So, I mean, how did that affect you as a star player on the team? How was that bus ride home? Did it sit well? I mean, I know it didn't, but how was that experience for you?
It was definitely disappointing, not only personally, but as a team, we were all really disappointed in ourselves. Like you said, it didn't sit well because we knew that we were worth and could play so much better. Mm-hmm. So whatever happened that night, we all had a bad night. It was just not very great. And sitting on the bus ride home, I think, was a lesson. It's like what we kind of like to use. We win together, we lose together. So we stay on the bus together all the time. And like MG said, it was really quiet and everyone kept to themselves because it was kind of like an eye opener to like, we can't just coast through everything. We do have to work and we're human. So when we have bad nights, we know we have bad nights, but we have to be able to turn it around. And just learning from that. It was a lot. It was almost hurt coming back and beating them the second time too, because it was like we know we could have done better. Mm-hmm. But I really just think, honestly, it was a lesson because going completely undefeated may have not prepared us for what we're about to encounter in playoffs. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. So, I mean, it's good that you guys ran through this, right? I mean, and we're able to experience, a disappointing loss, and then, because you don't always get the chance to redeem yourself in a regular season game. That's a playoff atmosphere. So that's kind of preparing you already. So, I mean, you can honestly say this is week 2 of your guys' playoffs, having to go through a tough game like that. But hey, on the bright side, I want to also talk about the win. So coming back, and obviously you guys went through your next opponent. You guys beat them, and then had the rematch with the guys. And I mean, talk a little bit about or did it even matter? Sweeping them back. How did that sit with you? Mikayla, I'll go to you first.
Like Kaylee said, it was like we felt like we could have done it already, like beat them at their place, but we were pretty excited because we worked hard in practice and we prepared and we did end up beating them. So we had clinched our spot first in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. How about you, Kaylee? I mean, redemption, how sweet was redemption?
It was great, really, because I think it was really necessary too. Like I said before, a lot of teams aren't as lucky to get a team like that to hit right before playoffs. And it was also a huge lesson for us and reminding us that we have to play Rockport volleyball, not Calhoun, Miller, Sweeney, whatever volleyball we're playing. We don't play their volleyball, we play our volleyball. And when we all came together and like didn't do more, didn't do less, played our role, it was easy to tell who was the better team. And in the long run, like I said, it was disappointing we couldn't have done that earlier, but I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be able to play them right before playoffs because we wouldn't have hit someone that hard to prepare us.
That's really smart. I really, really like that answer. And it's almost a perfect response. I mean, you guys definitely, like I said, it sets you guys up going into the first week of the playoffs and just had you in that mindset. So Payton, Sweeney, right? Did you guys play Sweeney? You guys opening tournament?
Yes.
Any nerves going into that first game?
There was nerves. I mean, I feel like everyone has a little bit of nerves before big games like that because you never know the situation is going to happen. But we played our game and it turned out pretty great. We did pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Coach, where's your next game at again?
We play tomorrow in George West at 8 p.m. against Lavernia.
Okay, Lavernia. Do you know much about Lavernia and the season that they had?
Yeah, I don't know their overall record. I think they finished third in their district. I honestly don't know. It's like
okay.
I tell the girls all the time, the opponent's irrelevant. If we play the best we can possibly play, then it really doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. We know a little bit about them, key players, and then just kind of what system they run. They run what's called a 5-1. So that means the setter is in the front row at some point. So you have to pay attention to that, or she can hurt you a little bit. So we know what we need to know. The more important part is how we're going to play and how we're gonna approach the game. Less focus on what they're doing, more on what we're doing.
Yeah, in doing these interviews, we interviewed Coach Troutman, the football coach over in Sinton, and he was the first person to say that to me. Was they go into each and every week with a faceless opponent, and their mindset is to just do the best. Do the best that they can be the best, execute their game plan the best to their abilities, not necessarily play, up or play down to the opponent. So I really love that, so stop it. I'm gonna get out of there with that question right there. I'm gonna let Gabriel take over, but thank you guys for all joining in, and we appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out in the waiting room and waiting on us to get done, wrapped up. But good luck. I know Gabriel and I believe, right, Gabriel, we're going to be out there tomorrow? Yes, sir. So we'll be out there. I'm not too sure about a live stream, but I think we're definitely going to be recording it. I don't think we got permission in time, but I'll let Gabriel talk about that. But, hey, I'll see you guys out there tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. First and foremost, I'm excited about tomorrow, ladies, and I'm actually excited about the second round of the playoffs because as podcasters, like Coach Jeffery says, and I understand you guys got to, don't worry about the opponent, right? You just got to go down and play a Rockport game. But for us podcasters and fans, this is what we do all day. I break down, I got the bracket right on my screen, and I'm watching who's winning, and I'm putting it down. And I thought about putting it on the Pirates Cove, and I still might do that tonight. But I've been watching who's winning, who's losing, and I'm kind of okay. Rockport takes this, we'll play them, and how we're gonna get out of this region. So this is what I do, and I love it. But going back to you guys, Kaylee, last time we talked to you, you had 200 spikes. Do you know where you're at right now with spikes?
Oh, I'm
kills.
I'm not
sorry,
really
kills.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, kills. No, I'm not really sure. I actually do think that I am past 1,000 career right now. But that's off of random video stats. Not sure where the update is from that 200 though.
We're going to try to find out. Listen, I watch you play a couple of games, right? And so when you hit in the middle, when you're in the middle, up in the front, and they pass you or they set that ball up to you, I can almost say it's going to be our point. You're just so dumb. It's kind of like a layup. I've been in basketball team. Sometimes you just kind of just dip it down there, I guess your height is really an advantage for us, but you do it so well, or you can just really lay down on them. And so to me, it's almost like an automatic point. Talk about when you're there, because I'm still trying to figure out how somebody sets it back. They hit it. I think it's going this way because I'm watching it on the iPad. I'm not watching it like on the court, right? Because we're live streaming. And I hit it, and I think it's going to the right, and it goes all the way to the back, to the other side. And then Elena comes in or Kaylee comes in. Talk about when you're in that position. How do you guys know? Because I don't think y'all can. How do you know where the ball's going? Or is this just through practice that you jump like you're going to hit it, but it goes over you, goes to the next one? How does all that work for you guys that are in the front when the setter's setting up?
It's a lot of communication. Just like any other sport, communication is key. Although sometimes it is nice to honestly not know, if you've got me and Elena and Kaylee all running up at the same time and none of us really know who's going to hit it, but we're always prepared physically and mentally, it can really space the blockers on the other side because they don't know where the ball is going either. And we have such talented setters that it's almost like unpredictable sometimes. So really we're just trusting all of each other. And like I said earlier, playing our roles, no more, no less. So if the ball ends up coming to me, I take care of my job, and then we'll come back together as a team. But really it's communication before the play, where we talk to the setters and know who's what we're running, and then just trusting each other and all being ready the whole time during the game.
Well, Angie Skinner, and then on those sides you've got Elena and Kylie Cobb. Good luck to the other team, man, because man, we can really play up in the front. It's really nice to see. And when we're on our game, man, we're almost hard to beat, really. It's just great. And, one thing that, Kaylee, I'll say is, like basketball, because I play basketball, right? It's like, okay, close game, we're going to keep, our guard, or the person that's hot stays on the court, right? And it didn't appear like that's what happens in volleyball, man, because I was watching, some of the games, and it's just a rotation. I don't know if Coach Jeffries, he does make change, but it seems like it's just a rotation, like Coach Steve was saying. Hey, it doesn't matter what the situation is. It doesn't matter that's what it seems like to me as a fan. Everybody can play a part, whether we're down and we need somebody, Kaylee's on the bench, we can still win this set. We don't need her on there, or just the way the rotation. And it looks to me like it's just really helped this team develop over the year. Everybody can be in a crunch situation. We have the confidence that no matter who's up in the front, we're going to get that point. It's just been amazing in the couple of games that I've seen you guys play, the amount of talent that's on this volleyball team. I mean, because we don't really cover volleyball a lot like we do football and stuff, but watching and looking at the stats and what you guys are doing, this is a very talented volleyball team, front and back court, with people that can come in the bench. It's just exciting as a Rockport fan to be able to see that and see how far we're going to be able to go. Now I'll turn it over to you, Payton. I don't even know how you keep that ball up when it's coming hard. I have no idea, because these people, like Kaylee hits it hard on their side, they come right back. How quick is your react? How quick do you need to be? I know, because I see you going up to the front when we're going to spike it. I guess it's in case they try to drop it. You're there to be able to, because the girls are jumping. There's got to be somebody there to see where the ball is going to land. But then I see a lot of movement to the back. Talk a little bit about when that ball comes. It's coming down at a speed that I don't think I would be able to. I'll probably just turn and let the ball go down, me personally. How do you do that? Because it could hit you in the face. How are you so quick to be able to hit it up? Because I'm thinking all you got to do is hit. You're just trying to keep it from hitting ground, correct? You just hit it up and then let the setter or somebody else come up because you get three. Talk a little bit about when that ball comes down and what your job is exactly, because you've got five you've had. Last time we talked to you. Payton?
Sorry, it froze.
How many digs did you have the last time we talked to you?
It was 700. I think.
Do you know where you're at now, or you don't know either?
I don't know either. I have no clue.
Well, we're gonna have to get that. To talk a little bit about how you have to dig stuff, because you're a big part of what we do back there. I mean, I see you all the time. You're everywhere, and you're able to save a lot of those. How difficult is it, or is it easy for you to be able to just pick those digs up and give us an opportunity to kill that ball back on the other side?
Defense is all about positioning. So, like, when the block goes up, you set up on the blocker's hands. But, like, so when they're setting up, you have to, like, either be at the 10-foot line or pull back. It all depends. Like, it's hard. Defense is pretty hard. But
well, you do such a good job, though. I mean, having you back there, it's almost like I say with Kaylee, when Kaylee's up there, Payton's back there, man, it's great. Talk Payton, a little bit about Jessica Scheibe, too. We've had her on before. I know she's last year she moved up mid-season or something, and now this is her first full year. But she plays with a lot of confidence, I think. Oh, yeah. I mean, she seems to, no matter what the moment is, I know we're going to have her back next year. Talk a little bit about Jessica and what she brings to that backcourt, because she can get it down. She'll stretch out. She'll do whatever she got to do to keep that ball up. Talk a little bit about her play and
her confidence level is really high, which brings a lot of energy to the team. And she is that if anyone's down, she always brings them up. She's always just always wants the best for us. And she's been putting in the work. She stays out after practice sometimes, and she's putting in the work, and she's doing really great.
That's awesome. Mikayla, I'll go to you.
Is everybody there?
I'm still here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody's here. Is Mikayla here? I think we might have lost Mikayla. Okay. Coach Jeffries, I'll go to you next. So you beat Sweeney, and you kind of take them in 3, which I thought you guys would do. How did that game with Sweeney? Because we're first, right? So we're playing the 4th place team from that district, right? How do you think that team right there beating these guys? Because we beat them pretty convincingly, to me, from what I saw. How did that game prepare you to the game you're going to play against Livonia tomorrow?
Kind of different. I guess, we got reps out of it. We got to play in a playoff game. We got to go out and compete. But in terms of Sweeney and Livonia, not a comparable opponent. So just playing in a playoff atmosphere, I guess, it was a big thing. And then just getting reps in against an opponent instead of against each other.
Yeah. And I know you talked earlier about, Livonia. It's really all about, for you, it's really about preparation and what we can do, because I know that if Rockport plays the way they're capable of playing, we definitely win in advance to the 3rd round. I'm going to ask you the question, Coach. How far can this team go this year?
As far as they want. It's a decision at this point. How are we going to show up, and how much confidence are we going to play with, and how much effort are we willing to put in? At this point, it's a choice, and then just being able to play consistently. I think as you go on deeper into the playoffs, what you see is the teams are more consistent. They limit mistakes, which in volleyball is such a huge thing. We talk about a lot. We'll win a game 25-14, and then we pull up the stats mid match, and it's like, okay, they had 14 points, but 9 of those were our errors. So that's what you see as you move on. Talent wise, everyone kind of starts to even out a little bit, and then it just becomes who is more consistent, because I'm a firm believer in it's never the best team that wins. It's never the best 14, 12 players that win. It's the team that plays the best that night. So as you advance further, the talent evens out, and it's just who plays better that night. So I'm just going to stop there. That we can go far.
Hey, Coach, I'm sure you can. And like I said, the expectations have been high from day one. Like I said, I think these girls are very talented in the games that I saw. But I will ask you a question, Coach, and this will be my final one for you. I'm not understanding the game still a lot, so maybe you can help me out. So we're playing. Both teams are engaging, and then all of a sudden they blow the whistle and it stops. What would be something? Because I've been asking people, why do they stop it? I'm still trying to get familiar with volleyball. But what is something that could happen? It seems to me like the play is good. I can't give you an actual example, but it seems like, is it like maybe when they didn't hit the ball correctly? What do they see that could stop a play when it's going back and forth? There's no traveling. There's nothing like that. So what could stop it, Coach? Because I've seen you. I look over to you, and sometimes you're like, you knew better than to call that. It seems like, but what could they do? What could be a call that would stop the play? Because I think everything's going good, and then they just stop it and give a point either to us or they give it to the other team. What is something that could cause that?
Net violation, I guess. Can't touch the net at any time. Let's see.
They call it doubles on
you
the
have
setters.
double contact, which everyone I think in Aransas County knows my stance on that. It's the world's worst rule. I think it's going to be gone before too long. It was introduced like maybe 4 or 5 years ago to the UIL, and it's basically essentially when a player goes to use their hands and a hand contacts it at a different time. It's called a double contact, but anyways, I think we just lost Gabriel.
Did we?
But anyways, that's the double contact rule there.
I thought maybe there was also like a foot foul. Like, I mean, are you allowed to hit the ball if your foot crosses like beneath the net, but crosses that center line?
Yeah,
I thought maybe no, that's not a call. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
me
it's a
and
call.
Gabriel, we both look at each other like, what was that? What happened? We're trying to catch up and keep up with them.
Yeah, no, and that's another ridiculous rule in my opinion. But the center line violation is when a player steps across the center line, whether they interfere with the play or not. It's supposed to be called a violation. So that can be one. And then a back row attack, which is when the player out of the back row contacts the ball above the height of the net in front of the 10-foot line.
Wow. See,
that one rarely gets called. But that's how it's supposed to be called. It's just to prevent, like, let's say that Kaylee was in the back row, and it's to prevent us from sending her to the front row to attack from in front of that 10-foot line there that's on the floor. That's why that rule's in place.
All right, so everybody's back. I'm sorry about that, Coach and girls. Mikayla, I'll go to you. I've seen you play the front and the back. What exactly is your role on the team?
She's frozen.
Muted, MG.
There you go.
I'm the setter.
Okay. Talk a little bit about what you do as far as the setting. So Payton usually has to keep the ball up, right? I'm assuming. And then it goes to you. How do you know which one you're going to give it to? I know Kaylee talks about there's communication, but you can only communicate so much when you're actually on the court. So how do you know who's going to get the ball to be able to kill it to the other side?
Well, before each play, we kind of like discuss what we're going to run. So they're all prepared for if the ball comes to them. And then we kind of have to like read what the other team's doing so I can give them a single block.
Wow. So you're setting it. I think maybe it's you. Somebody sets it up. I don't know how they hit it, but the ball goes to the other side. I mean, to me, it's very difficult, but it's awesome to see. So you set it up to the other side. So when you guys do that little huddle, does anything get said in that huddle? Or is it just a little huddle, hug, and we go back to play again? Because I see every time we get a point or they get a point, I see all the teams doing it. What's all that about?
If we're doing really good, we will get in our huddle and we'll come together and we'll say we're going to push more points and to keep the ball. Or if we're not doing our best, we'll come together and we'll, as a team, we'll discuss what we need to fix and to keep our heads up. Okay.
Let's talk about Sweeney tomorrow's game. You got a big game tomorrow going to George West. We're going to be there. I think we're going to be traveling. Hopefully the weather will be okay. So talk to me a little bit about Sweeney. I'm sorry, Lavernia. You just beat Sweeney. Talk to me a little bit about Lavernia. What's the expectation for you? I know we want to win the game, but do you know anything about Lavernia as far as their team?
I just know a little bit from film that we've watched, but I've never really have seen their team like enough to know what they do every single time and how they play.
Like Coach Jeffery said, it's more about what we're going to do, right? How we're going to prepare for the game, whatever they got. I mean, by this time, you guys should be well prepared. I mean, it's like as you get into the second round and third round, it does come down, I think, to mistakes, mental mistakes and errors. And that's what's either going to help us win a game or it'll kill us one way or the other. Kaylee, your thoughts on tomorrow's game? I mean, we get to this. This is where we were at last year. I think we won round one. Of course, we played Wimberley last year. Really tough team. They're still there in the playoffs. But you're in the second round. What would it mean to you to get past Lavernia and get into that third round, something that we talked about when we interviewed you the first time?
Oh, it'd be amazing. I'm really get out of here. I'm really excited to just go out and play. And I know we've said it like 4 times tonight on the podcast, but really the other team doesn't matter. Honestly, volleyball is one of those sports where, you know, you're physically separated by a net. So really it's all up to your own skill and mindset. And team, to control what happens. But I think that it would just be such a great thing, not even for us as a team, but us as a program, to just really show that all of our hard work has been paying off, because we definitely deserve to push through playoffs this year. And I think we have it, as long as we're all willing to put every ounce of effort that we have for every second that we're playing. It's definitely a possibility, and it would be amazing for our team.
Absolutely. And I look forward to getting that win tomorrow for you girls. I'm sure we're going to get that win and bring home that W to Rockport. Payton, I'll ask. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I'll finish up.
Payton, I'll ask you. Now, you played during the beginning of the season. You played, some teams that were pretty tough. Toloso, Medway, Cal Allen. To get out of the region, we'll have to go through Cal Allen, obviously. But talk a little bit about playing these hard teams. I don't think we got the victory over them, if I remember correctly. How has that helped you for what you're going to face tomorrow? How did those teams playing those bigger Corpus Christi schools, they're a little tougher, it seemed like. How do you think that prepared you for the game, the second round against Livonia?
Playing those bigger schools always shows us our weaknesses, what we need to work on during practice. I mean, playing like those weaker schools is just it's like we go through the motions. But like when it's intense and we're all like helping each other and like being like a part of a team, it's so much better, like playing hard teams that are defensive and offensively good, skilled.
No, absolutely. And you girls, like I said, I do sit here with this bracket. Like I said, I got it on my screen and I play around with it a lot. And I just kind of go, I look at points, I look at all kinds of stuff. And if there's video, I'll take a look at it. But girls, I just want to tell you before I pass it over to Steve, good luck tomorrow. We're definitely going to take the drive out there to George West to cheer you girls on. I think we have a good opportunity to beat Livonia. I think we have a good opportunity to get past that third round and let the chips fall where they may. But the expectation has been high, and the community of Rockport is so excited for Coach Jeffery to have him coach you guys, having him here and bringing this knowledge of the game and helping our girls and getting into the playoffs last year and then getting in to the second round this year tomorrow, winning that game and get to the third round. It's just exciting to be a Pirate now. So I want to wish you girls and Coach Jeffery good luck tomorrow. We'll definitely be there cheering. I can't yell as like I want to, like Kaylee does, because I'm recording. And so I got to be careful with what I say in the heat of the moment. But just know that I'm definitely there cheering you guys on. We're going to win tomorrow. We're going to bring the W, and then we look forward to round 3. Coach, I'll pass it over to you. I know you got a few things.
I got one more thing to ask Coach Jeffery. This playoff system seems to move pretty fast. I was so surprised that you guys were already going to play again. Is that the way the rest of the tournament's going to go? Is that the way the rest of the playoffs is going to go? I mean, you guys are basically playing 2 games a week. Is that the way it is? It moves that fast?
Yep. So we have area tomorrow, and then the beginning of next week would be a regional quarterfinal. Then you go to the regional tournament, which I think is in San Antonio, and that'll be next Friday and Saturday. And if you get out of that, you go to the state tournament, which is the following weekend up in the Metroplex.
Wow. So there's really no like week off, like, like say football, some may have a week off to prepare for a team. There's nothing like that. Wow. That's amazing. I didn't know it moved that fast. That's why I was really surprised that you guys were, when I read it on Facebook, it's Thursday game already. Like, wow. So, wow, that you could really move through this really quick then. So, okay.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of planning. A lot of people watch volleyball, see volleyball, and there's no physical contact, so they don't think it's, as physical as some other sports, but those girls take a beating, Yeah. I mean, Payton's black and blue from August till whenever we finish. So it's tough on their bodies. It's a lot of jumping, so it's tough on their knees. It's a physical game. So it's a careful balance there between too much and not enough, because like you said, you can play a lot of games, especially in tournament season when you're playing 7-8 games a week. It's a balancing act for sure.
Wow. Well, it just amazes me that you guys play that many games, that close in succession during the playoffs. I would think that there'd be a week for preparation there or something, but there isn't, right? So Well, like I said, Coach, I mean, good luck tomorrow. We'll be there cheering for you guys. And thank you again for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you.
One more thing. Payton, you're a senior. Kaylee, you're a senior. Mikayla, you're a senior also, or junior, or
Senior.
So I got the 3 seniors here. All right, girls. Well, Coach Jeffries and ladies, good luck. I know we're gonna win tomorrow. No jinx, but I know we're gonna beat Lavernia. We're gonna bring the W back to Rockport, and then next week we're definitely looking to travel again with you girls into that round 3 and at the chip spot where they may. But know that the community of Rockport, the Park Cove, is behind you guys 100%. And we wish you all the luck, and we'll be there tomorrow. Mikayla, do you play any other sports? I know Payton plays softball. Kaylee, we'll be talking to her. She'll be jumping right into basketball. Do you play any other sports outside of volleyball?
Basketball.
Basketball. And basketball, I do track.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. So we'll be talking to you guys. I know Coach Jeffery is also coaches softball, so that's great. Ladies, once again, thank you for your time. Coach, thank you for your time, man, to coming out. Sorry it took a little bit longer for you guys to come on. We had this storm and the internet went out, and we already had Coach Bates. He was waiting. So thank you very much, and we'll see you, ladies and Coach. We'll see you tomorrow in George West.
Sounds good.
Have a good one.
Thank
you
all,
guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Coach, it was a little different than what we're usually accustomed to doing. Usually we take a little break and then we come in, and I think the storm kind of threw us off a little bit. I know it threw me off a little bit with some of the questions that I had, having to, not be able to pause and get myself prepared for the ladies and Coach. We were with Damien Bates, so we had to go on the fly. But hey, sometimes that happens to us in podcasts, and we got to be able to adapt and adjust.
That's right, baby.
But I got to tell you real quick, Coach. I'm really, I'm excited. First of all, Coach Bates was a great interview. Once again, I mean, he's real excited. I've seen him on the court, and just the way he talked about his players, talked about his assistant coaches. He's got a lot of passion, and that's the kind of coach.
Passion and emotion is what I saw. You know what I'm saying? So, and those are all good traits, to have as a coach. And because the kids really buy in. You know what I'm saying? They buy in, you're emotionally attached, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's special. That's a real special trait to have as a coach. He's loud when he needs to be, you know what I'm saying? And you even heard him say that he had to take care of some character issues just before he came on camera. So, that's a well-rounded coach right there. And I could find it super easy as a player to rally behind somebody like that, who I know who's emotionally invested with me just as much as that he's concerned about my physical attributes and what I could do physically for him. In just that brief interview, he showed me his emotional attachment to the team. And that's something rare. That's different, So I really enjoyed Coach Bates's interview, without a doubt.
Absolutely. And and it's not just like you said, he wants to win, but it's not just about winning. It's also in the time that he's teaching is to have these young men become great men, great husbands, great fathers. And that's important. And sometimes, when we're talking about sports, that gets lost in the mix. We want to win so bad. And he talked a little bit about, I want to win, but I also want these guys to understand and be good fathers when that time comes, and be good husbands, and just be a good person. And so I think Rockport's very lucky. This is the first time I've ever talked to Coach Bates, and I think he's a great coach, man. And I think he's going to do some great things. I think Rockport-Fulton is very lucky to have a Coach Bates here, coaching our kids. And then we jump over to our volleyball, and we've had Coach Jeffries the second time. I think, first of all, when we first had Coach Jeffries, I know you did some research on him. It's amazing what he did when he was in high school in Canada.
Yeah.
And the knowledge that he has for volleyball, and softball or baseball. He's coaching softball, but what he brings to the team, and in the short time that he's been the head man here at Rockport with volleyball, the success that he had last year with COVID, and then the success that he's having this year, this team has gotten better all season long. And then we talked to Coach Robbins about what the JV did this year. And I know we haven't really talked. I'd like to bring Coach Robbins and Coach Clark. May not be able to get Coach Clark in, but Coach Robbins to talk about the JV and the freshmen as we close out the seasons. They had a fantastic season. Both girls. I mean, the freshman I think went on a long winning streak at the end of the season. Coach Robbins, JV. So our JV and freshmen have ended their seasons, but they had a winning season. I think maybe they lost 3. I think maybe the freshmen lost 2 games. The JV maybe lost 3. And then we talked to Coach Reyes about in the middle school, and we know that they all had winning records down there from 7A, 7B to 8A, 8B, with the 8th grade A winning district and being undefeated. So how does volleyball look for the next 5 or 6 years in Rockport? Pretty good. And to have Coach Jeffery there as the head man to be leading these girls, and then having the assistance of Clark and Coach Robbins, man, it's just amazing what our volleyball team is going to do the next couple of years. So great interview. We're definitely going to be missing Mikayla, the seniors, Kaylee, Howell, and Payton. I mean, it's hard to fill these shoes to what Payton has done for us this year and what Kaylee has meant to Rockport sports girls. I mean, I watched her when she was a freshman, and she's just been doing it and working hard. So we'll continue to keep an eye on these girls and what they do. But what's coming up, and we talked a little bit, Payton talked a little bit about Jessica Scheibe and what's coming up with the returners, Kylie Kopp, and some of these girls that are coming. Elena will be back. And then with the JV and the freshman, boy, it's just going to be really good to see sports for a long time to come. So, Coach, thank you very much. I know the other 2 guys couldn't join us. It was a little bit odd today with the storm and stuff. Maybe the internet got knocked out. I'm not sure. I know we usually break down the Rockport game. We do a lot of stuff. We talk about the youth. I don't really want to do that tonight simply because I want to give the guys an opportunity to come in and give their input. So maybe tomorrow we can do that. Or maybe tomorrow we've got the volleyball game. So we're going to be back late. I don't know when we can do it. Maybe we can pick it up before next Friday's game. We'll have to double up, I think, because we're not going to have time to do it tomorrow. But Coach, I do want to thank you for coming on with me. It would have been kind of dull if I had to do this interview with both of them by myself. So I appreciate you coming on. We got the internet working. Anything you want to add before we call it a night?
Man, just again, I just want to remind the community, take a minute and listen to these interviews, get to know these coaches. They're doing a phenomenal job helping our youth along the way. I can recall we heard Coach Bates, talk about, how he was invested in some of the kids, and we're talking about, personal issues and feelings that he had towards Coach Kirkendall and losing him. But I can recall an interview that we did with one of the girls. I believe it was the Hernandez girl, Messiah Hernandez, talked about Coach Jeffery and how he was doing a fabulous job, help raising them young ladies, young women. So I mean, all these coaches are super invested and they need more of this light shined on them. They people need to take notice on what these guys are doing for our town, and really rally behind their sport and understand that these guys are they're building our community one child at a time, and they're doing it. Yes, they're getting paid, but I mean, that's something else, So, I mean, hats off to them. Like you said, I think Coach Cyber's also doing a great job screening these guys, because it seems like everyone that he's picked so far, every spot that he's filled since he's been here in his tenure have been home runs. We haven't had somebody come in and kind of, give it a 1 season, 2 season. All these guys are digging roots here in this town, and they're moving their families over and they're establishing themselves. So Cyber is doing a great job in the selection of all these coaches and really hitting home runs with them. So hats off to them. But that's all I got.
And the thing is, when you talk to these assistants, they talk about the relationship that they have with Coach Cyber. They all have a great relationship with each other. It's not just being coaches, and I think they feel comfortable here. And you're seeing the results. And then that goes from Coach Seibert coming down to the coaches, them feeling comfortable with Coach Seibert, having a great communication with him, feeling like they can go to him and give their ideas or whatever the case may be. Coach Seibert being supportive. And then that trickles down to the kids and the kids feeling comfortable with the coaches that we have here. And that plays big, Steve, because you want to come out there and you want to play. We've got a lot of people that want to come out and play sports in Rockport, They see the winning tradition. They see of the winning, and they see the excitement. You know, you see these girls in the volleyball, for example, winning. You know, a younger person that doesn't play, man, I love that excitement. I love the way the community rallies around these girls. You love that atmosphere. Friday night football, you got those fans out there cheering for you. All of the stuff that gets done, you want to be a part of that, right? So now you want to come out and show what you got. So everything is coming good, I think. And it's not just with our middle school. We've had Hassel and, of course, Coach Reyes, who head the departments down there, right? But it's also our high school, but it's also our youth. It's what you do down here before they get there. You heard Coach Hassel talk about, you know, how he likes some of the stuff that's been implemented at the youth level. You know, we talked about the president of our football league and come out and the job that he's doing with his coaches, our softball, what you're doing in particular, what you've done the last couple of years. And you talk about what the high school kids are doing now, but you have these kids before they go up to Hassel and Reyes and Seibert and those guys. So you also have to pat yourself on the back for the volunteer work that you do for these, because the time that you're putting in there, that Chino's putting in there, that your assistants are putting in there, Mr. Dykes, that take this time. That's where it really starts. So our youth programs is where it starts. The time that they're putting in to teach these kids the fundamental with baseball, soccer, volleyball, football, taking it up to the middle school. This is how we become successful. And we've been able to be competitive with the bigger schools in our district and even win districts. So it seems, Coach, that it's all working out really good. I like where we're at. It's a fun time to be a Pirate. And it doesn't seem, it's always hard to lose your seniors because, you lose some of these players and you're like, okay, what's coming up? But it seems like it's just next man up mentality. And these coaches are doing a good job of when you lose a Kaylee Howell or you lose a Mikey Dominguez or Sierra Galvan or Maddie Mann or whatever the case may be, right? Yeah, Connor, Tyson. It doesn't really matter because these coaches are also preparing the next person up. As these guys and these girls are doing their thing, we're preparing these younger. It seems like we're doing a really good job because when they have to come up, they're very well prepared and we stay competitive. So it's great to be a part, and we're learning more, Steve, because we're doing the interviews and we're interviewing the kids and we're getting more involved in the community of Rockport. And so you're able to see really what these coaches do. And I'll say this, I know sometimes we critique, and I like you guys to critique the game. We don't ever belittle. And as long as, I have these things, we'll never belittle a coach or a player, right? But we do critique it, and that's okay. But I think sometimes too, I've learned that, there's a game plan that I'm not aware of. I can come up here and I can critique and say, why is this happening? Why is that happening? But there's a plan, and I'm not part of that coach's plan. It doesn't seem, and when we're up in the stands, Coach, it kind of seems like, what are you doing, right? We're giving up these many yards, but there's a plan behind it that I'm not involved with, right? So sometimes I like to tell the fans, sometimes it doesn't look like we're doing something. There's a game plan that they're working on. Sometimes it's real easy to be able to watch a game and criticize, but it's really hard when you're a coach. You're preparing a game plan all week, and just because it doesn't work in the first half or the first quarter stuff doesn't mean you got to give up on that plan. So when we're talking and we're doing these things, and I know you and I have talked a lot, Steve, about when we commentate, we got to keep our cool. We got to be real careful because we don't want to definitely offend anybody. But it's good to also see and know that we critique the game in the way we see it. I love the way you do it. I love the way that Johnny does it and that Tony does it. And we're going to continue to add more to the team and talk about the things that we want to do. At the end of the day, it's about supporting our Pirates. And I think so far, Steve, we're all doing a very good job. So thank you very much for coming out, man. I appreciate it. If you want to go to the game tomorrow, I think we got to leave. How far is George West from here?
Man, I've been there. I want to say like an hour and a half, maybe an hour 15.
Is it further than Tidehaven? I don't think it is it? Because it's just it's just right over the other side of Beeville, I know, right? So it's like I'm talking Beeville's about an hour. So I'm thinking it's probably
it's 67 miles. No, okay. I'm sorry, 80 miles. An hour and 15-minute drive. Okay.
So the game starts at 8. It's a little bit later. So I think we could probably leave about, 6?
Yeah.
7:30. Okay, we'll leave about 6. All right, so I'll contact you tomorrow. Hopefully the weather's okay. We can get out there. Definitely want to watch this game. We won't be able to live stream it this video will be uploaded tonight. I'm fixing to upload it before I go to bed, but we will not be able to live stream it. We didn't get the approval to be able to do that. So I don't want to do anything that might get me in trouble or the school get a call I don't want the school to get a call from the UIL or anything. I don't know if that would happen, but I know I don't have permission and I need it. So what we're going to do is we're still going to record it, but we'll be able to put it on. I want to keep the game anyway. And then we'll be updating through text messaging on the Pirates Cove and let everybody know what's going on. So I apologize, but we are definitely working on being able to get the stuff that we need to the UIL to be able to maybe hopefully live stream the next playoff game. We'll see what happens, but we won't be able to do it tomorrow. So Coach, thank you very much, man, for your time. Have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow.
Awesome, man. All right. I'll talk to you later.